all of us see the moment that we're in. And all of us see that the choices that it feels like we have sometimes, which is Hassan Piker and Tucker Carlson, or Nick Fuentes and, Andrew Tate, the kind of people that are rising in the podcast charts, those don't actually represent our values. And I don't think that they represent the values and the worldview of the vast majority of Americans. And so this is an opportunity to speak for the 75%, for the people that are on the center left and the center right, that still believe in equality of opportunity, that still believe passionately in the American project, that still believe in all of the things that everyone in this room believes in, which is liberty and freedom and individual responsibility, and in the most basic level, the right to know what is actually going on in the world. Not the world as propagandists and ideologues imagine it to be, but what's actually going on in the world and in your community, so you can make decisions about where to send your kids to school, about where to live, and about how to vote. That used to just be normal. And the goal of what we're trying to do at CBS is to get back to that normalcy. And I feel incredibly energized and enthusiastic, because I think that is where the vast majority of Americans actually are.
Well, so that articulation of that set of goals to speak into the lives of the 75%, how are you going to do that? What's your strategy for success?
So I think one of the problems is a lot of people have tried to do centrist news. I know this because I am like the target audience for those things. And the reason that they have all failed is it's like trying to force feed spinach down someone's throat, right? It's felt very like tofu, oatmeal. It's like centrist news is choosing the midpoint between every single topic. It's felt like an absence of charisma and identity. And I, as nostalgic as people might be for an era in which 30 million Americans every night watched Walter Cronkite and saw him as the voice of truth, and I understand why they're nostalgic for that, we're not going back to that. So how do you build trust in a moment of unbelievably low trust in all of our public institutions, especially the mainstream press? I don't think it's by pretending like we can go back to having a view from nowhere. I think it's about who's in the room, right? I think it's about redrawing the lines of what falls in the 40-yard lines of acceptable debate and acceptable American politics and culture. And I don't mean that in like a censorious gatekeeping way. I mean having people that are clearly identifiably on the center left and on the center right in conversation with each other. And we've been doing so much of this at the Free Press. I was in, where was I? Chicago last week, I think. I've lost all track of time, where Dana Lash, former spokeswoman from the NRA, was debating Alan Dershowitz on guns. Now, these are people that have wildly different opinions on the Second Amendment, and yet showing that they can have good faith, very passionate, very charismatic disagreement and still like each other at the end of the day. We think it's important. And so for me, it's always about the curation, like who's in the room, how are you showing centrist news, not as the absence of disagreement and the absence of charisma, but explicitly charismatic and disagreeable, and yet doing it in good faith. And the other way you do it is, by being really honest with your audience. Like,
welcome to the J.G. Carrell Show. What in the hell is that lady talking about? She's trying to sell us rotten meat. She's trying to sit there. Her name is Barry Weiss. I hope I say her name correct. She is a CEO or one of the main people in CBS News. She's trying to convince you, as she's sitting next to that little weasel, Ben Shapiro, that gutless piece of trash, Ben Shapiro, and tried to tell us that we need to go back to listening to people like her, that 75% of the nation is like her. Number one, sweetheart, you're a woman. And I hate to say this out loud to you Karens. The person that's going to lead America is not going to be a woman. It will never be a woman. Why? Because America was founded on alpha male masculine strength, period. That's how God created it, through Christian faith. Our Christian faith places the man above all. So you can fight it, and you and your Karens and your very effeminate men like Ben Shapiro, You people like to change everything, but God's natural order always wins out because you are abomination. Look, I understand what her point is, that she wants more centrist news. She wants more give and take, back and forth, discussion. Well, that's impossible to have, darling, because you in the media have lied to us for decades. Walter Cronkite? Now we find out that he was so biased, it's not even funny. It was all a charade. It was all a lie. It was all the Truman Show. Nobody believes that crap anymore, sweetheart. You want to demonize Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate? Let's stop and I know she can go on and on and on. And I throw my name in that hat. I'm not as big as them three yet. But what do all those three men share in common? They believe in the masculinity of the United States of America. They believe in the masculinity of the man. They believe the man is the head of the household. They believe in God. And they believe in the United States of America was founded by Christians. Andrew Tate's a Muslim. His brother's a Christian. Even Andrew Tate says this is a Christian nation. Nobody trusts you, sweetheart. The same CBS News that took Kamala Harris' word salad and edited her interview to make her sound more coherent, which was a challenge. You guys should have won an Emmy for that. Am I supposed to trust you when you do that? I'm supposed to trust you when you take Donald Trump's his interview and chop it up and make him sound like he's crazy? Is that the media I need to follow, sweetheart? That's the one I need to do, Miss Weiss or Weiss or whatever the hell your name is at the Jewish conference? I'm supposed to sit here and trust you, and you and CBS News and everyone else won't talk about Jews or Israel? Oh, isn't that interesting? Everyone else is talking about Jews and Israel except mainstream media. The same media that told us to shut up, that we're crazy conspiracy theorists, that the 2020 election was stolen, and now all of the evidence says absolutely. We have foreign nations that are running our elections, that are choosing our candidates and chooses who wins, and then manipulates the system, and they're running America, not our politicians. The same media that told us that we, the people that did not get vaccinated, we're the enemy. We need to be socially pushed out to the corners, ostracized. We should lose our jobs. We should lose our pensions. We should lose everything. We should be killed. And then we find out, no, I'm sorry. The vaccines don't work. In fact, they're killing people. The 6 feet distance was made up. They made it up at the CDC. Out of whole cloth, just made it up. Dr. Fauci, he created through gain of function this evil, this virus, this whatever you want to call it, that is killing people across the globe. He released it onto America and to the world, and yet no one's to blame. I'm supposed to believe the same media that told us that we have to go to 9/11 because of weapons of mass destruction? The same media that spun the lie, Walter Cronkite, of Vietnam, and we got to be there. We have to be there. No, but 99.9% of Americans can't pick out Vietnam on the map. Dear God, they can't even point out the 50 states on the map, more or less Vietnam. But we had to go there. And 50,000 of our young men had to die miserable effing deaths in the jungle of Vietnam. Why? So we can have a monument and etch their name in some black granite? Because some politicians like LBJ, etc., wanted the war to just continue and continue and continue? We're gone two and a half decades of war in the Middle East. That's the media I got to listen to. $10 trillion later, over 10,000 soldiers dead, hundreds of thousands of soldiers maimed, mentally disturbed, their families destroyed and ruined. That media? That's the media I have to trust? The media that has told me for 4 years that Joe Biden is completely cognitive. He's absolutely all there. I just watched him walk off a sidewalk onto grass and through shrubbery in the White House. As the Secret Service agents telling him, sir, turn here. Sir, turn here. Okay. In his ear, the idiot is lost. And he walks through shrubs. that media, that woman, Barry, has no idea that she's dead. Her company is dead. They're dead. They're dead man walking. Ben Shapiro, he doesn't know it, but his empire, which was large, is dead. No one's listening to him anymore. All the youth, my son, I know what he listens to and who he listens to. I know who his friends listen to. Is that the end all be all for me? Like, okay, whatever his friends are listening to, that's what. No. I'm looking at the data and I'm living it real time. My son and his friends, they mock Ben Shapiro. Oh, you know what they say? No prodding to me. All he talks about is Israel and his allegiance to Israel. We're about America. Oh, nice to hear that. Matt Walsh. My son doesn't listen to Matt Walsh anymore. Matt Walsh, what are you going to do? You're going to keep working for somebody that mocks our Savior? You talk about being a Christian, a Catholic, and you have Ben Shapiro that just mocks Jesus and just said, he was some guy that wanted to overthrow Rome, and they crucified him. He's nothing to us. He's nothing. Oh, okay. Everything is changing in America right now. What's changing America? Well, no matter how much they try to suppress our voices, we're getting out. Tucker Carlson is getting out. They can't stop him. His numbers dwarf anything at Fox News. His reach dwarfs anything at Fox News. No matter what you do in Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, all of the ABC, NBC, CBS, you combine them every day, they don't have the reach that Nick Fuentes has daily. On one tweet, Nick Fuentes has more viewers than everyone combined. You have lost. And where you've lost, media and the elites, you did not capture the two newest generations. You haven't captured them. You've lost them. They're gone. You're never going to bring them back. You can try all you want. Their minds are beginning to be formed, and they're seeing what is obvious. The generations above them, the one that you convinced that those men need tampons because they're menstruating, that these men are becoming pregnant, these men need to have hysterectomies, that women can cut their breast off and be men. At the same time, years later, they're killing themselves in enormous amounts of numbers. Those generations, the Alpha, the Z and the Alpha, they're looking up and they're going, God, I don't want anything to do with those people. They're miserable. They're killing themselves. Look at how they look. Look at all the body piercings. Look at the face piercings. Look at the tattoos, the different color hair. They're obese. They're infertile. They're pissed off. I don't want anything to do with them. I want nothing to do with them. That's where you're losing. Here's a topic. I'm going to show you some clips of Tucker Carlson because I want to drive home this point that Miss Weiss is saying. She calls it the fringes, right? The fringe really it's the far right. She's not talking about the lunatics on the left. She's saying it's about 15, 20% of us on the right. And she's acting as if 75% of America is in the middle. Sweetheart, you are functionally retarded. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. We're talking about a seismic shift in America way of thought. And we're not talking about a third. We're talking well over a half and growing every single day. And you know what they hate that we're talking about now? They used to be in hushed tones. Shh, don't say that out loud. Let's talk about that at home. Let's wait till we get back in the car. You can't talk about this. What is that? What's that subject we can't talk about? Well, it's the destruction of the white race in America. And now it's talked openly. I'm seeing it not in my algorithm. I'm just seeing it all over. I'm seeing people I never thought I would ever hear them say something bold, and they're saying it out loud. Everything's changing. The entire lie that we have been living through for decades, but more specifically, the last decade, we have been living in a cesspool of immorality, of unnatural order, chaos, told that no, it's not chaos, it's normal. And we're like, no, this is chaotic. This is insane. No. You're the one, JJ. You're insane. You still believe that a man and a woman is the best way to get married and have children. That's the best way. That's not the best way, JJ. The best thing to do is to have two gay men have a surrogate woman carry their baby, or just have them adopt them outright. What? Yeah, it's better to have two lesbians get together and somehow conceive a child or adopt a child. And it's best for the child. Well, how's that best? I don't understand. How's that best? And before you say, well, the news doesn't really talk about that. Really? I could show you a clip, a segment after a segment after a segment of the media pushing this. I could go to, what's that football player with the giant gap in his tooth? He's on Sunday Football, and I think it's CBS, and he's on the morning show. Oh, Michael Strahan. I'll show you a clip on Michael Strahan sitting there, supposed to be an alpha male, sitting there on CBS morning show or Fox News, one of those, clapping like a seal, where a 9-year-old transgender boy comes out dressed like a woman and is doing a sexual dance for him. Oh, yes. How much money do they have to pay you, Michael Strahan, to be morally bankrupt? I would love to have a lot more money than I have. I will never sell out for that. Never going to happen. Israel's never going to come to me and ask me to post for $7,000 a post or do a show for $7,000 on Israel. Not going to happen. I would love to do 100 shows at $7,000 a show, or 100 tweets at $7,000 and get 700K to press propaganda. I would love to have that money. I'm not pushing your propaganda. I'm not pushing for Israel, Nigeria. I ain't pushing for anybody. And that's what's driving the media insane. It's because people like myself, I don't need your $7,000. Tucker Carlson doesn't need it. Nick Fuentes doesn't want it. People in this realm have had it, and we know we're winning. Watch this Tucker Carlson just talking about the white population, and think about this being talked about 2 years ago. Wouldn't happen.
The elimination of white people, one thing that I have noticed, because it's impossible not to notice, is that majority white countries are becoming non-majority white. And that's a result of policies that are deliberate, that are not popular with the populations of those countries, and that people are discouraged from noticing in it. In some places they're arrested, like in Great Britain. And it's not happening in one or two, but in every single one. Every white country on the planet, except Russia, is on the road in very short order to become completely different from what it was 50 years ago. Targeting people on the basis of their race for destruction is the reason we say we hate the Nazis. And yet that's absolutely happening globally in every white country. Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, the United States, and Canada. Joe Biden's standing up and being like, the main problem in America is white racism from white men. I can't wait till this is a non-white majority country.
Could we even have that discussion a year ago? This openly? On a Sean Ryan show that he gets 3, 4, 5, 10 million views, depending on who he's interviewing. So Tucker Carlson will probably hit that 5 to 10 million. 5 to 10 million people will watch that entire interview. That will take about 2 hours. You could take whatever show you want on Fox News, et cetera, and combine them for 2 hours, whatever they're showing. They're not getting close to the 5 to 10 million views in a week. In a week. You would never talk about this. And this is what Miss Weiss from CBS and the stupid beta male clapping right next to her, Ben Shapiro, this is what they'll never talk about. They can't control it. That's why they hate it. That's why they want us all to go back to the 3 networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, and just click in. Oh, it's 10 o'clock, honey. We got to get programmed. Like literally, we have something programmed into our brain. Okay, it's connected to the TV. Click in. Boom. Okay, let them feed me the propaganda for 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, I unplug. Okay, that's what she wants. That's gone. You're never getting the toothpaste back into the tube. It ain't going to happen, sweetheart. And no one's going to follow you. I'm sure you have good intentions. I'm sure that all of the liberal elites that are around you, or you're talking about, oh, how can we, sweetheart, no one's following you. No one, and everyone in your org chart is following you because they're afraid you're going to fire them if they don't. No one's following you, sweetheart. This idea that we have a boss woman, everyone's going to follow the boss woman, that's a lie. It just is chaos. No one wants to follow you. They're not going to follow you. The alpha males in this country will never follow you. Ben Shapiro, you pulled the wool over our eyes for quite a while, but no alpha male is going to follow you, buddy. You're a sellout. If my 14-year-old son, which was 13 at the time, could understand that you are a shill for Israel without me even saying a word to my son. When my son watches podcasts, I don't interject. I don't stop it. He controls it. And I allow him to do that. He pauses podcasts. 30-minute podcast is going to take me and him an hour, 2 hours, maybe 2 or 3 days of driving around, picking up where we left off. And he'll punch it on pause and go, Dad, we can't watch him anymore. Well, why? Why is that? Well, Dad, he's not America first. Listen to him, Dad. Everything's about Israel. Well, why is he not focused on America? We have 30 million illegals came in our country, Dad. Good, son. Then let's remove him from our queue. Get rid of him. Okay, Dad. This is what's happening. My son's not watching CBS News or Fox News. My son's watching podcast shorts. That's where he's getting his information. We'll watch podcasts like the Whatever podcast because I want my son to see. I want my son to see. The Whatever podcast is 2 or 3 gentlemen are talking to about 10 women. And they are mentally ill, but it's a group of women from all walks of life. And it's important that my son sees when you get a good Christian young woman that proves that she loves you and trustworthy and believes in God, then you don't let her go, son. Because in your mind and what the media and entertainment and the propaganda is telling you that you need, there's millions of beautiful women out there that you need to conquer all of them. No, son. There's millions upon millions upon millions of lunatic women out there that have had sex 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 times with 100 different men. You do not want that. As I tell my son, who's a motorhead now because he's driving, Joseph, do you want a brand new car that no one's ever driven before? And it just smells clean. It's perfect. It's beautiful. And every time you get in and it turns on, it works. Everything's working perfect. Or we can go down the street and I can buy a car for you where it's had 37 different drivers. There's dings and bents all over it. No matter how they buff it, it's still used. You can tell it. You can smell it. You can feel it. 37 different asses have sat in that seat. Which one would you want, son? Well, Dad, of course I want the new one. Then why would you want a woman that's had 37 partners versus the one woman that has none and has been waiting for you? So this Miss Barry Weiss, this is why the children, the young men and women, especially the young men that are rising up, but I'll put the women in there too, want nothing to do with you. Your Jewish coalition, your CBS News, we want nothing to do with you. They want zero. Like my generation still has a bunch of retards that will go out and listen to your broadcast. the younger generation, which is going to be the ones that are going to bury you, they want nothing. They zero to do with you. The idea of watching anything that you put out it's not going to happen. They're not going to watch you. Let's listen to something else that we'll never see on the nightly news. And this is Tucker talking about Israel. Oh, dear God, Israel. We can't say that out loud. It's a dirty word, right? Not anymore.
Have to ask why.
Yeah.
Why am I shouting someone down rather than hearing what he has to say? Probably because what he's saying implicates me.
Yeah.
And at least part of what he's saying is true. And a lot of what Nick Fuentes, and I take the anti-Semitism out, I'm against it, just to be clear. But a lot of what Nick Fuentes says is absolutely true. The United States Congress is unduly influenced by a foreign country called Israel. It's not hate against Israel. It's criticism of the U.S. Congress.
Sure.
No U.S. lawmaker should ever put a foreign country above his own, period. Have to ask.
Let's listen to something else that would never, ever, ever be discussed on mainstream media. And what would that be? It would be Epstein. Sure, they'll gloss over it. They'll put some spin to it, but they're never going to talk about it the way that I talk about it, the way that Tucker talks about it, the way that Andrew Tate or his brother or Nick Fuentes or Matt Walsh or any of the other influencers, Alpha Warrior. I can go on and on. They're not going to talk about it this way because we know what it is. And they're not going to talk about Speaker Johnson lying to us and then openly admitting, because he's not a bright man, he's under extreme amount of stress. So when you take people that are not really bright and put a lot of pressure on them, you're going to hear things that are not supposed to be said out loud. Watch Nick Fuentes talk about the fact that our intel agencies with foreign governments like Israel were abusing young women and raping them at the hands of Epstein, and our government had a hand in it. Watch this.
They want to keep some files hidden. Why? Mike Johnson says, quote, to make sure we don't do permanent damage to the political system. What would be permanently damaging to the political system about releasing all the files? See, they're giving the game away here. And what they're telling us is that at the highest levels, probably people on both sides are implicated in the disclosure. That Jeffrey Epstein, running a sex trafficking blackmail ring, that's what it is. He worked with fashion and modeling agencies to recruit young girls, in particular underage girls. He threw lavish parties using billionaire money, maybe from foreign governments, maybe from the Mega Group, a collection of pro-Israel billionaires. And with his lavish parties, his island, his New York City house, and the girls, he brought government officials, Hollywood celebrities, powerful businessmen to these parties, secretly recorded them using cameras and microphones to blackmail them. And then I believe, and it's my understanding, that then he sold the blackmail. He functioned as sort of an intelligence mercenary, working with CIA, working with Israeli military intelligence, working with MI6. And it appeared to form some kind of triangle.
They're not going to talk like that. They're not going to talk like that. They're not going to talk like I'm talking. Are you telling me some dude in a nicely pressed suit, and his hair's perfect, and I don't blame the guy having nice hair and having a nice suit on, and he's just reading a script? You think he's going to talk to you and to the audience the way I do, or the way Nick does, or Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate? You think any of us are going to talk to you that way? Or are we going to be very blunt, very direct, as if we don't have enough time? That time is extremely valuable, because there's so much work to be done. You think we're going to do innuendos? You think we're going to do, hey, come on back in 5 minutes and we'll tell you, the catchphrase of the month? No. We're just going to tell you bluntly, very bluntly, and with a lot of boldness, this is what's happening. And then you do with it how you want to do with it. You want to ignore it, stick your head in the sand? Fine, I don't care. Or do you want to be involved? You want to have an education about what's happening in Israel and Israel's influence? Do you want to have an education on Epstein and what our government allowed to happen? Do you want to get educated and know about the 2020 election? All of it's tied together. All of it. I love this next video is about 10 seconds long. And it's the late, great Andrew Breitbart. And he's basically saying out loud to the media, you want a war? You got a war. And they know it. They're in a war right now. We're winning and we're going to destroy them because this is how information is shared now. Not your way, our way.
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs. Fuck you. War.
Can you play that one more time? I can't get enough. I play that 10 times a day if I could. This is beautiful.
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs. Fuck you. War.
That's what we have. That's the boldness. That's the determination to look them right in the eye and say, oh no, I see you. And you want to go to war? I'm in war now. You don't scare me. I'm going to overcome everything that you've done. You want to suppress my X account? You want to suppress me in YouTube? You want to do X, Y, and Z? It doesn't matter. There's millions of us. Some are really good, some aren't. But we're getting the message out, and you can do nothing to stop it. No one watches your crap anymore, Barry Weiss. Nobody. Who are they going to believe? Who do you think they're going to follow? You, ma'am? Or someone like me? When the bullets start flying, and they will start flying, and everyone knows it, we can feel it, we can sense it, it's going to happen. Are they going to run to you, ma'am? Are they going to circle the wagons around you and wait for your leadership and your bold statements about equity and equality and centrism? And come here, Ben Shapiro, tell us something. Don't let your little hat fall off your head. Tell us something that will inspire us. Or do you think men like me are going to have a following? It's a simple question. And you know the answer. All of you crazy ass liberal Karens, you childless, you just worthless Karens. You know it. And all of your beta male husbands that could never protect you for anything, you know it. You know how this is going to play out. History shows it. This is not my feelings or what my dreams and desires are or my fantasies. This is just history. History shows the alphas rise up and they burn everything to the ground. And every single person I talk to, and we go down this discussion, even the moderates I speak to, and that the moderates that interview me, and we go down this intellectual road of how do you think this is, how are we going to change this? How are we going to fix it? How are we going to correct it? And I allow them to go through this intellectual, I call it an intellectual gauntlet, because they're trying so hard to jump over these obstacles. And we keep coming back, right? We keep falling down and going, and I keep going, well, where do you think it's going to end, right? You've been stopped again. We've gone down this road and it's still not fixed. We've gone down this road of voting. We see that voting doesn't work. It's a lie. We've gone down this road of legislation. It's not going to happen. They're corrupt. We go down this road. Well, we'll sue. Well, you can't, because all the judges, the majority of the judges are corrupt. They're under George Soros, and the DAs and the AUSAs, they're all corrupt. So what recourse do we have? And we go through this mental gymnastics and this mental gauntlet, and we end up at the end And you know what we always say, or at least I say to them? It looks like it's going to be a kinetic physical battle, right? And you should see their faces as they come to the realization, damn it, it's going to come to that. Even the centrist, even the people that that woman's trying to champion will come to that conclusion. Yeah, I can see your point of view, JJ. I can see how that is a statistical probability, very high statistical probability. They still hold out hope that there's going to be some magic bullet. There's going to be some charismatic guy that's going to come and he's going to bring us all together. We've talked about this in my show. Where in the hell is the halfway point that I'm supposed to reach across the aisle? 4.5 months to kill a baby? 15 million illegals instead of 30? Allowing drugs to pour in instead of killing them out in the ocean? Allowing half of our elections to be fraudulent and the other ones are paper ballots? Come on. Tell me where that is. I'm supposed to swallow the Obamacare ACA. I'm supposed to. Why can't we get rid of it? No, JJ. That's something you're gonna have to just stomach. Well, I don't want to stomach it. Well, JJ, you have to reach across the aisle. I don't want to reach across the aisle. In fact, I don't want to reach across the aisle on anything. As Andrew Breitbart said, war. He didn't say, I love how Andrew Breitbart said that. He didn't give a long dissertation of how we need to fight. He just said war. There's no mistaking what he's saying. We're ready. We're in war. We're going. Because that's the only way. He was one of the first guys that really had the balls to not do the compromise crap. He saw it, how it's all going to end up. It's war. Listen, all of you quasi-conservatives, you rhinos, you people on the fence, whatever, the left has been at war for decades. They've been sitting on the battlefield, yelling to us, hey, you gutless, impotent white rhinos, hey, get on the battlefield. We're ready to go to war. And we keep going, well, we're just having kind of a heated discussion that calmer heads will prevail. No, they're not, Lindsey Graham. No, they're not, Mitt Romney. No, they're not going to be you disgusting piece of trash, John McCain. No, we're not Mitch McConnell and John Thune and Speaker Johnson. Oh, no, in the litany of disgusting speakers of houses, McCarthy, Johnson, the crybaby with the fake tan, I can't remember his name, and then Paul Ryan, and on and on and on. You missed the boat, guys. We're at war. Breitbart is spot on. War. One of my sponsors who I really love and respect their product. I know that's strange to say. I respect their product or products. Why? Why do I even have sat123.com as a sponsor? As you know, I only talk about 3, maybe 4 sponsors. And one of my main sponsors that I always talk about every single night is sat123.com. Why? Because we're at war. You don't have to like me and my mindset because of 24 years in law enforcement, and I see things very, very different than the average person, and I understand that. I'm not banging the table and saying, I'm right. I'm just saying, this is right for me. This is the mindset I have, and I understand, and I'm not deviating from it for you, for anyone else. So I see things very differently. So I see, like Breitbart says, war. I understand what he's saying. I understand what it's like to arrest, fight for my life with savages. This idea that all of us are created equal and we're all good people and we blah, blah. No, we're not. That's just a bold-faced lie. No, we're not. We're not even close to being equal. We're not even close to being the same. So I want to be prepared. You can go to sat123.com and have a different mindset than me, but you're still going to go there and say, I think I need that. I think I need a sat phone. Sat phone for $600, $1,200. Don't have to pay for it. They're going to send you a sat phone for free. And when you get to subscription, 90, 95 bucks a month for 150 minutes a month, you're not on your sat phone having chit chats with your buddies. This is when something's going down and you call your wife and say, okay, are you safe? Yes, I am. Do you have our children? Yes. Okay, our rally point is X, Y, and Z. Or your wife calls you and says, hey, I don't have any cell coverage for whatever reason, because 90% of America doesn't have cell coverage, believe that or not. And I'm stuck out here on this road. Can you call AAA, whatever, and can you come out here and help me? Absolutely, I'm on my way. That's why I have it. My son goes to school with a ballistic backpack. You heard that right, a ballistic backpack. Why? Why wouldn't he? That's my question back to people asking me, well, why do you do that? And I shoot back, why wouldn't I? Well, you really think that's going to happen? Would you think the people in Minnesota, where some transgender freak was shooting through the pane glass into the church and killing kids as they're praying to Jesus, you think that it's not going to happen to you? Your kids? Are you insane? I'm not taking the gamble. sat123.com/JJ. The other way you can help me and support me to be able to have this, or if you don't want to, and people like me, I think we need to have an ecosystem where we're just supporting each other. Instead of sending our money to watch CBS and buy CBS products and placement. No. I have a website, jjcarrell.com. I have Substack, jjcarrell.substack.com. Both of them have tons of free content, and both of it have tons of subscriber-based content just for my paid subscribers. Either or, do that. Go to the website or go to my Substack. Just go there. Like it. Tell your friends. You watch my YouTube. If you watch my show, a lot of my audience watches my show on YouTube, or they watch it on my website. If you watch it on YouTube, click on the subscribe button. Let's force them to stop suppressing me. It is difficult, I will tell you. It is frustrating. There are days where I have tens of thousands of subscribers, and I get 500 now on X, 500 likes, where I used to get hundreds of thousands to millions. That's how much they suppress my content now. You know when that happened? And anybody who's watched me knows I don't believe in anything that's coincidental in the world. I can go back to the X premium that I have allows me analytically to go back and see when everything started or stopped. Guess where everything stopped? When I went from hundreds of thousands to millions of views to nothing. Well, the moment I started talking about Israel, just an observation of Israel. Isn't that interesting? I'm sure it's not. I'm sure I can't really connect those dots. I'm sure that's just my mind. I'm sure it's just nothing. I shouldn't worry about it. Probably get better content. Well, my content was the same before that day and the day before. Oh. Well, maybe you shouldn't be so bold. No. The day before I got 1 million views on something, but I got 500 the next day. What did you talk about the next day? Well, I talked about Israel. Oh, that you made a mistake. We don't live in a free country. That's just the truth. I don't care whatever you say. Anybody tries to argue with me on this, I push back. I give you my 2 cents, and then I just walk away. In fact, if you're a good friend, I don't even want to be your friend anymore, because I can't deal with imbeciles. The idea that we live in some kind of altruistic, some kind of perfect republic that our founders set up, it was perfect. It was set up beautifully, but we bastardized it, just like we did everything else. We don't live in a republic. Name something that our government has done that's been beneficial to me. Go ahead. I'm waiting. You want to talk about something that's beneficial? Let's talk about bringing in 80,000+, depending on what AI you go to or what demographic chart you go to, in Minnesota, in the whole state of Minnesota, but mainly they dumped all these Somalis in Minneapolis. So much so, 80,000 of them, they call it Little Mogadishu. And why do I want to talk about Somalia? Because this captures every single thing I'm talking about, and how this was Obama and Biden and Trump and Ronald Reagan. This is a uniparty issue. We brought in all these Somalis and dumped them. Remember, we took Somalis from the desert and brought them in to Minneapolis, the coldest place, maybe in America. What? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you bring them down and put them in Tucson or something like that? El Paso. What? Why wouldn't you put them there? It's closer. They can go wander in the desert and shoot and kill each other out in the desert and act like they're back in Somalia. Well, they can't. They don't want to do that. They want to put it in the whitest state in America, Minnesota, where it's all the settlers were Swedish, Norwegian, the Nordic Vikings, blonde hair, blue eyes. No. Let's put the darkest people you can find in Africa, the poorest country, and put them in Minneapolis. And before I start to tell you about these 80,000 Somalis and what they've done to Minnesota, I watched an incredible. I like Steven Crowder. I don't agree with everything what he says, but I like him. He's funny too, but he's really spot on. He's becoming less jovial and more very poignant and direct now. More serious, maybe, is the term. I don't know. And he talked about Somalia as a nation. Holy mother of God. I didn't know these statistics. Again, it's amazing when you do research. I think I'm on top of things. I feel like I'm a smart guy. Not the smartest in the room, and I know that, and that's okay. I don't really want to be the smartest in the room, to be quite honest with you. I made my bones in my job, my former career, by being the best decision maker. I could take in a lot of information real fast and make very, very strong, bold decisions. So I always look for people way smarter than me to be in my company to help me form an opinion and make a decision. That being said, the more that I research, the more ignorant I realize I am and how much more information I need to somehow be able to digest. So what Steven Crowder said through statistical research on Somalia, listen to these. 49% of Somalian nationals living in Somalia, which now have been brought over to America, 49% of them have incestuous DNA, meaning they marry their cousins, maybe their brothers and sisters, but it's incestuous. We brought in 80 to 100,000 of them just in Minnesota. How does that benefit America? Well, I'm going to show you in just a minute how it does not benefit America. The average IQ of a Somalian is 65. The level of IQ that America deems someone to be retarded is 70. Let me repeat that. The average IQ is 65. So that means you have some Somalians maybe that are 85, 90. But that also means there's people in Somalia that have IQs in the 40s. And we brought them all over to America. They've been warring for 4 decades. What could go wrong with importing all of those Somalians? Well, let me show you. Here's the first one. I want to show you the autism claim. And I talked about this the other day on my Real Take. In 2023, there was $3 million given to autistic children of Somalians. In 2024, that number of money rose to $400 million because the Somalis, who are gang-like, they are equivalent to the Romanian gypsies. They are vile, vile criminal people and fraudsters. Watch this individual discuss how the Somali community has ripped America off. America, not Minnesota, Americans of $400 million.
You're about to get severely pissed off, all based on a report that's out today about the Somali community in Minnesota and how it's stealing your money. Here is how it goes. Somali parents would get into this scheme of claiming that their child had autism when the child really didn't have the autism. That's right. So what would happen is that they would take their children to one of many different clinics that popped up all over the state in the last couple of years, all under Governor Walz. They'd walk in, they would pretend like their kids had autism. They would get kickback payments anywhere between $300 to $1,500. The more you pretended your kid had autism, the more services they need, the more your kickback. And these parents weren't stupid. What wound up happening is the scam was so huge that more autism centers were all starting to rack up. They went from 40 to like 300 and change. And so what parents would say is, give me more money. And if you didn't give them more money on a kickback, they went to another center. And the reason why other places didn't get involved with this is because the Somalis said they needed specific centers for them to be more delicate to the Somali needs. Now, to put this all into size, keep in mind that the community of Somalians, they are tripling the amount of autism claims when measured through the rest of the state of Minnesota. So it's a total scam. And this continued to grow and grow, so much so that if you go back to 2018, autism claims were $3 million. By 2023, $400 million, and you've been paying for all of it. Some of that money going towards donations for the campaign of Ilhan Omar, that's what they're reportedly saying, all happening under Governor Walz's watch, you know, Tampon Tim. But to make all of this worse, the money was being sent in many cases back over to Somalia. And that money, when it got to Somalia, was funding terrorism. That's right. Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda's greatest funder are the taxpayers of Minnesota and the United States of America. Now, Al-Shabaab has killed more Americans than anybody else. So basically, this is what it is. They're stealing your frickin' money. We bring them over here, invite them over here to become part of America. I don't know why. You tell me why we need all these Somalians. Why do we need Ilhan Omar? And then they sit there and they say, screw you. They take your money and they fund terrorism. Do you think maybe it's time to get rid of these people, to stop taking them in? I do. We don't need the Somalians. Cut it off now, today.
Absolutely. And Donald Trump turned off of their temporary protective status. Oh, yeah. Ilhan Omar lost it. I don't think anybody has been taken off the temporary protective status since I've been an adult. That's how corrupt the TPS is. That means when you're under temporary protective status, no matter what you do or how horrific individual you are, you don't get deported. It's basically a get out of jail free card in immigration. It's disgusting. Nick, can you please get number 10 ready? I want to jump right to that. And I'm going to set this up though, Nick. Why is being $400 million is atrocity, and all those people need to go to jail, and no one's going to go to jail. Everyone that's been arrested is going to be released. We saw that today. They released someone that was convicted of fraud, $7.2 million. The judge just threw it out. The jurors went nuts and were like, I don't understand what the hell. What happened? That person was 100% guilty. But why is this important? Because this is the game plan of the global elites and the anti-American haters in our government. They bring them in, and what does 80 million Somalis do? Well, they vote one of their own in. And one of their own is Ilhan Omar. And I want you to listen to her. We have to have subtitles. Why? Because Ilhan Omar speaks to her constituents in that disgusting gutter Somali language. That's why. But listen to what she says. Read it. You're not going to be able to hear it or understand the grunts and the phlegm coming up from her disgusting language. But please, read as quickly as you can to the treason that she's spewing. Go ahead and play this, Nick.
jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka ka qabo waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali hadii aan nahay wadankan annaga ku nool wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress ka fadhiso intii aniga aan Congress joogo waddanka soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo baddeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan waddanka maraykankana kuma taageeraayo dad kaleeta in annaga ayna dhacaan marka taas ka seexda reer minnesota gabadhii congress-aa u dirsateen way idinka warhaysaa sidaad idinka u dareemaysiin dantaas ay u dareemeen madaxweyne xasan shiikhna waxaan leeyahay
Here's what I want to tell you, you disgusting bitch, and all of your disgusting people out there that are Somalians. Go back. Go back. But we've allowed the enemy into our government. That woman's making all of her decisions based on Somalia, not Americans, Somalians. And don't tell me she represents those people and only, no. Her votes have a direct impact on my life. I hate to have you listen to more of that gutter language, but I want to show you. I want to drive home the point. This is what's happening in America, and they're going to drive you out of your cities. Why? This is the new Somalian sheriff. As a man that was in law enforcement, we don't have people. We don't protect our people. We just protect Americans, not him, not this piece of trash sheriff from Somalia. Listen to him and tell me, or not listen to him, I'm sorry. That would mean you have to listen to all the phlegm coming out of his throat and all the guttural language coming out. You're going to have to read the subtitles again. I apologize, because these people don't speak in English, you see. They only speak in the gutter dialect of Somalia. Go ahead and play this.
markaan haddaan askarnahay Soomaaliyeed ininka ayni shaqeynaa habeenii maalinba ininka ayni taagannahay ma fahanteen horta sida ogtihiinba waddankan anaga qaxootiyan imaadnay askar Soomaaliya ma jirin marka hadda anaga markiina la haygareeyay waxay noqotay inaan dadkeena u shaqeyno dadkii dhaqankii ma fahmeynaa luqadii ma fahmeynaa culture-kii ma fahmeynaa marka qofka kale ma taqaana ajnabiga abadaanka iyo anaga waa kala duwanahay because qofkii gaabkii waxa we build that bridge kaas ma fahantay marka insha Allah waa mahadsantiin again ogaada askari kasta oo Soomaaliya dalka iyo dabadaba ininku inii shaqeeyaa habeenkii marka hurudaan iyo marka ma taqaana achievetaanba ininka inii taaganahay oo marka
We work for you, Somalia. Somalians, we work for you. Then you got the fat jackass on the side saying, we're going to bridge that gap. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you're going to treat white people as much as you do your disgusting brothers from Somalia. The ones that are raping us of all of the Medicare and SNAP and all the other crap that you disgusting Africans always do to America. You're always raping and pillaging us. You're always scamming. You're always a fraud. What if I just took a subgroup of white people and said, hey, you know what? These 80,000 white people over here, they just frauded the government of $400 million just on one program in 1 year. No. Section 8 and SNAP and WIC and every other benefit, Social Security, all that. Yeah, that's probably $1 billion. But just right, what if I told you that? We would all say, why are they not in handcuffs? Why are we allowing this to happen? But because they're filthy desert rats that have an IQ of a retarded person, we don't do anything. We just kind of shrug our shoulders and go, well, that's their culture. Their culture is to fraud and steal and abuse. Well, we invited them in. I think what we really need to do, white America, is we need to be more understanding. Maybe we did some sensitivity training about what drives Somalians to steal. Maybe we had a better understanding of their disgusting, absolutely disgusting country. We'd be better partners for them. Or here's a novel approach. Why don't we get them all the hell out of our country right now? C-130s lined up, get out. And we bring our demographics back to the way they were in the 1990s, 1970s, 80s, and 90s. I think that might be a good idea. What a novel approach. I think the 80s and 90s were pretty damn good in America. The demographics, I know, were surely hell better than they are today. What do you want? You have a choice. Don't tell me that I have to live in this mess. We have a choice. It really comes down to, do you want your America back or do you not?